Guys, welcome back to the DMV. I am so glad you made it back. Oh, shoot. Look at that. Oh. I was trying to be cute, had this set up. You saw it, it was working out great. Then it fell and it dented the freaking crap out of the oil pan, which is why I like steel oil pans over aluminum. And I can tell by the ring, it's not pushing up on anything. It's about a ½ inch deep. It's freaking stupid. I'm an idiot. But anything for YouTube, right? So Isaiah and I talked. I think we're just going to run it. Let's come up with a better plan to jack the car up. Let's go from this side. Ah! You may remember the $350 coilovers we did a while back. We're using a 7-inch spring, which makes the car too tall. It's about 4 inches too tall. So we're going to combat this today in two ways. We're going to build a new top hat, and then the most risky way we're going to do it, which might get us a whole lot of hater comments, is we're actually going to lower the spring perch down on the shock. It's a twin tube shock. We're going to try welding to it. I don't know if it'll work, but let's find out. Show this on TV, but on YouTube we can get away with it. Pretty good, don't they? All right, we got them all cut out. They turned out really good. This is some really tough metal. It's only 1/8 inch. I think it's cold rolled. Man, it was hard to get through. So our top plug we kept, it's gonna get welded on here. Then I'm gonna use a little jig like this to weld everything up. So we'll put our 2.5 inch steel pipe on, then we'll weld that. We'll weld all the way around here, weld all the way around there. And that will leave us about a 1/2 inch for our spring isolator to stay centered and our spring to stay centered. The whole purpose of this top hat is really to give this bump stop a little place to live. That way it's not hanging out. With the old top hats, well, this one's been cut, but the bump stop would have been right there. Now with these top hats, the bump stop's down in there. And that allows you a lot more travel, at least in our case, about 2 inches more travel over this. And we're gonna lower the car by a 1/2 inch just because of the design of the top plate. So, not going too bad. It's definitely better than spending a lot of money on them. So let's get these welded up and see how they go. All right, we got the top hats made. They turned out pretty good. If you look, if we put the top hat on and we just straight away compare, you see we've already got about 2 inches difference in ride height. If we lowered the spring down 2 inches, we know we need to lower our car down about 4 inches. So what I've worked out that's going to be a little bit difficult and a little bit tricky and fun is we need to move the spring perch down on the shock. And I know we need to move it down about 4 inches. So I snuck ahead a little bit and I ground the weld off that held it to the tube. And if I slide this down 4 inches, it puts it, yep, down about there. And that's a long freaking way. And the trick is I don't know if we can weld back to this. It's thin, it's charged, but I definitely wouldn't do it if this was a mono tube shock. I know it's not, it's a twin tube, so we're gonna try it. We're gonna go for it, and that's the process. We've got the welds cut, we've got them all sanded up, we've got them moved in place. And the plan, if everything goes right, is to put a hot bead, put the hot side on the factory and roll it over to the shop. And we're just gonna stitch weld it. We're just gonna take our time. Hopefully it'll work. Would I recommend doing this? No, if you got the money, just buy the better shocks. But we don't, so here we go. Alright, it definitely didn't work. It started leaking, you saw that. Definitely a dumb idea, but that's part of it. So I'm gonna practice tacking up a little more on this shock so that we can move forward on the other shocks. The shocks are ruined at this point. I mean, nobody's gonna buy them, they have no value. So I might as well try it. If I can just have to buy one shock, I'll do that. But otherwise, we're gonna keep trying it. So, come on, let's see how it works out. It is several weeks later. Welding on the shocks did not work very well at all. Kinda. It did work on the rear shocks. It doesn't look awesome, but it is gonna work. We are gonna be able to use them. They're not ruined. The front shocks did leak. Shot a little bit of fire. So I ordered the BILSTEINs. So this is now a video about the right way to build coilovers. It's pretty simple. We've got a coilover sleeve. These are probably not the coilover sleeves I'm gonna stick with. They have another sleeve that slides down over these a bit and encapsulates this ring. Sometimes these rings pop off. And then I got, these are actually NA shocks and not NB. So that we can use an NB style top hat. I think we're gonna put all these on, front and rear, finish up the suspension, and see how low we get it. And that's what we're gonna do! I've already tried this out quite a bit and made some measurements. Make sure that we've got the right height we want. I'm at about 4 inches right now under the oil pan. So we'll see. We'll see how that sits when we actually get all the weight of the car on it. But 4 inches isn't pretty bad. If we completely stick with the track on this car, we'll definitely go more than 4 inches or lower than 4 inches because, I mean, everybody knows cars look better when they're low. Do you think Taylor Ray's ever watched the DMV channel?
No.
No. You don't?
Not
you
really.
Don't think he ever has?
No.
Oh, that makes me sad. I mean, I figured of the 200 people that watched, maybe he's watched an episode.
Well, Cletus didn't know Wheelhouse was a thing, so...
Oh, that's right. He didn't know Wheelhouse was a thing. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, Taylor, if you're watching, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Doubt he's watching. last time we did this, we tore up an oil pan. This time I won't get creative. We'll just see what we can do. This may end bad. Oh boy. Oh boy. Definitely sketchy, but it worked. Oops. Let's clear all this out so we can roll this out and get our thumbnail. Man, look at that. It's freaking really starting to come together. I'm so thrilled. I know you guys haven't seen it yet, but under the hood looks so good. I think it's really coming together. I am super pumped about the LS Swap Miata, and hopefully we can get this thing on the road before Thanksgiving. That's it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining this